Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, we're here to ask, is bronze brick wall enough for you in NBA 2K22 next gen? So I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. Like always, let's try and get to 1,000 likes. And without further ado, we get straight into this video. Now, one thing that's very well worth mentioning in this video is going to be style of play, how it fits you, and setting of play, aka where you like to play your games at. Pro-Am, stage, park, 2v2, 3v3, all types of stuff like that. So for this specific gameplay right here, for anybody who's new to the channel, I'm on a 6'6" small forward that has bronze brick wall. I only have like 40 something strength, mind you. I really don't think strength impacts screens at all. I think it's more body frame and just how tall your build is and stuff like that, all types of stuff. And then again, brick wall ability, how high is it? Now, here's the thing. This is the setting that I was talking about, where we are in stage 3v3. Point guards demand a lot of attention, and this is just going to be by default how I feel about this game as well. Point guards can move really well. They demand a lot of attention and focus from the defense and a lot of respect from the defense. And realistically, what that means is it usually requires two defenders to defend them on the three-point line. And on 3v3, people are really hesitant to give up three-pointers. And rightfully so, because it demands, like I said, a lot of attention from the point guards. So for me and my style of play in 3v3 specifically, bronze brick wall is plenty enough. I can promise you guys that. Now, we'll also talk about your other style of play if you're somebody, nice little corner dot to know right there. But we'll talk about your style of play if you're somebody who likes to play 2v2 and, you know, maybe park 3v3 or stuff like that, or even for the pro-am heads and stuff like that, because I myself am a pro-am head as well. And I can 100% acknowledge that bronze brick wall is not enough in pro-am to be able to deal with. So we'll get into all that stuff throughout the course of this video. Again, I want to first and foremost talk about stage 3v3 and how the style of play really fits the fact that you don't need bronze brick wall even at all, to be completely honest with you guys, because point guards are crazy. They move ridiculous out here. They demand so much attention, and it's really just tough to defend them in general. So do you even need Hall of Fame brick wall? No, not at all. And if anything, having Hall of Fame brick wall also means that you yourself have a build that has less than 70 speed. So in terms of 2v2, what that means for you, essentially, right? If you have 70 speed or less, and essentially what that also means, most likely, is that you don't have any clamps. And not having clamps, not having any good perimeter defense is going to be really detrimental to you, as you guys saw in that first possession from Nut right there. Now, here is why I'm really curious why people don't test this a little bit more, because as you guys can see, we play size defense off literally everything. I'm even going to run to the corner off this because, again, I was on the left side and he ends up moving to the left side right here. Now, what I'm really curious why people don't do more of this is they could totally have this guy right here spotting up, have him come up to the top of the key and set screens for this guy, and then boom, just like that, they're forcing Nut into pick and roll defense, and we can't do anything about it because, like I said, you have to switch everything. You really can't play much hedge defense in this game because of how dominant these point guards are in terms of getting open. And most people have shooting bigs as well. I'm not going to sit here and say you need one 100% because I even myself don't have one, and again, I do feel like we have held up pretty well in terms of the stage stuff right here. But considering most people have shooting bigs, it's going to be very easy to force switches on because they might get loose for three-pointer if I just go ahead and let him pop to the wing or something like that and we don't account for it. And size defense definitely accounts for that very well. But again, you can see right here, we're forced to play size defense, and last second he gets a green off on the wing and we have no choice but otherwise to do it. And it doesn't matter what the dude's brick wall level is. He could have Hall of Fame. It doesn't matter. We're playing size defense. He could have no brick wall. We're playing size defense. And you're going to see these guys, same situation. You're going to see that big man. Feel free to step up very often. I'm going to go for these slips right here. Boom. I don't even set a screen. And he's paying so much attention to the point guard because why? Point guards are crazy with their movement, and they respect them a whole lot in terms of their three-point ability. So now forget about the gameplay. We're just going to go ahead and talk about whether this fits you and what brick wall level you need for the way that you like to play the game. So again, I did mention to you guys, I don't think bronze brick wall is going to be enough at all in terms of pro-am. It's not going to make any sense to do, and there's a lot less space to be moving around and just sprinting around the whole perimeter when it comes to pro-am and stuff like that. So I'm 100% advocating for the fact that you should have at least silver or higher brick wall. I've been using silver myself on my 6'8", loving it. I think it's definitely good enough. And I myself, my style fits the undersized big man really well. I like to have the extra speed. I like to be able to slip and roll whenever the opportunity presents itself. I like to be a little bit more versatile on offense, have good ball handle rating, be able to guard the perimeter and stuff like that. And again, the whole guarding perimeter thing is still a part of the fact of you having brick wall. If you have Hall of Fame brick wall, you are slow. I can promise you that. You have less than 70 speed, 100%. You most likely, like 99% sure, you have no clamps or anything like that. And you can see even this dude's getting torched in the pick and roll D and, you know, getting forced into the ISO defense and stuff like that too. It's not good, man. Having low speed is tough in this game, but you can make up for it at that 7-3 spot for the fact that you can either have good stick on defense yourself, or you're an absolute rebounding beast. As you can see, this dude is moving too. Like I at 6'6" can hardly keep up with him. It's tough for these tall bigs to even keep up in that ISO defense on threes. And this conversation completely twists when we're talking about 2v2s, so I'll talk more specifically about that for anybody who's out here who really likes to play 2s, doesn't really care about this 3v3 stuff, and you know, it's about as simple as that for them. So they just like to play 2s. So for that situation, I will say it's a lot more accepting of you to have the Hall of Fame brick wall, because for this one reason. You, if you have brick wall Hall of Fame, are probably very tall. You also defend post scores pretty well, and 2v2 post scores like 7-3s are looking real devious. So for you to be a little bit taller, a little bit slower, is a little bit more acceptable in that. However, if you do play a team who runs double ISO on offense, or has a smaller, undersized pick and pop big who's going to force mismatches a whole lot, because I promise you, you are not going to be able to play, like your point guard who's lining up at the 1, he is not going to be able to fight through screens and stay on that PG all day. I promise you, no matter how good you are, you're not fighting through screens 24 seconds in this game and keeping up with these point guards, whether it's ISO that they do it off of and they're trying to force the mismatch, or if they're just coming out here with the inside big spamming screens all day, because you can't give up slips. Slips are just a no-go on 2v2 because it's make it take it. They can just keep doing it every single play. You're giving up free points if you're giving up slips. So really, 2v2 defense is hard, especially if you have a slow big. So if you have Hall of Fame brick wall, or in a better way of putting this, if you're super tall and you defend the post scores really well and account for that, because again, a lot of people are going to come out here with that. They're going to come out with a really tall big man. 7-3s are dominant in terms of not being able to get contested in the paint. And I really do think in terms of the height, it's more important in the sense of a post score rather than for an actual screen setter. But Hall of Fame brick wall is definitely still good. So what I'm getting at here when it comes to 2v2 is it is a little bit more of a condensed space. It's only the half court. However, there's a lot of space to run around for a point guard. So it's dominant in the sense of if you set really good screens, you can force mismatches onto other people who have oversized big men, and then your point guard just goes crazy isoing him pretty much. Or you're somebody who has an inside big man and you're just forcing people to play sides on you all day, because it requires 2 defenders to cover that point guard, especially if you're setting nasty big bodies. However, it just hurts you on defense really bad. But with you being big, it also helps account for the other bigs out there who like to post score and stuff like that, and it completely negates that. Like if you're 7'3", nobody's post scoring on you. I'll put it as simply as that. So overall, the positives of being big on 2v2 are definitely there. I would recommend the taller you are on 2v2, the better, really. If you could come out here with 2 7-3s, and it's going to be dominant too. Now, that, however, is where we talk about if you get matched up with somebody who has an ISO lineup, and then you're out here with a big, or again, if you ran 2 7-3s, if you're out here with 2 7-3s, then they come out here with an ISO lineup. I mean, you are getting torched. I can promise you that. So long story short is offense is very hard to stop in this game, whether it's ISO or pick and roll, pick and pop, anything like that. What a lot of people are doing is forcing screens to force the mismatch, aka right here, where the big man had no interest in stepping up to kitchen on this play. Also because we have 19 points, so they can't really give up a free 2. And this is along the lines of what I'm talking about for 2v2, right? So since it's game point right here, they can't give up a free 2, they can't give up a free slip to me. So what does this mean? It means this on-ball defender is going to struggle a whole lot more because he has to keep up with this guy. One single reach-in completely kills him. Now, all of that said, this dude can't exactly step up in the corner because he has to count for me in the paint, because again, it's game point. He can't give up a free 2 or else that's just game. So just like that, this is the story of 2v2 right here. It's going to be rinse and repeat every single time. Now, honestly, this is even more to talk about the fact that you really could get away with bronze brick wall on 2s, even off just stuff like this, where people just naturally reach a whole lot. Like, he shouldn't be reaching right there at all, to be completely honest with you. And who knows if he even keeps up in the corner, because again, point guards are super hard to keep up with and super hard to guard anyway. So my whole point with this video is point guards, super hard to guard. If you have a good point guard and he knows how to move and stuff like that, and you know, you can work well with him in terms of screening, you don't need anything more than bronze brick wall. On Pro-Am, however, I would definitely recommend to have silver or gold. Hall of Fame is kind of stretching it if you ask me, but if you're somebody who's just going to play corner defense and stuff like that so you don't get exposed on the defensive end, then Hall of Fame by all means can work for you. I myself am somebody who likes to guard perimeter while also being a screen setter, so I made a 6'8". I have silver brick wall. I think it's gonna be plenty fine. And again, my style fits the speed really well. I like to be undersized. I like to be able to be moving pretty well and take the slips when they're there and actually very efficiently take those rather than being super slow and lumbery and not be able to slip very efficiently. But if we're talking 2v2, 3v3, anything like that, you really don't need that high of a level of brick wall. But like I said, for 2v2, it might just come naturally for you and you might just get it on gold or Hall of Fame, because I think all you need for gold is like 88 interior defense. And then for Hall of Fame, you probably needed like 95, 97, something like that. I might be lowballing it, might be highballing it, I don't know which. And realistically, if you're just playing Park 2s, you're not going to play anybody who's coming out here super crazy movement and just spamming ISO for 3s on 2v2. Albeit too, if he is ISOing for 3-pointers rather than dunks, then he might miss eventually. And you with your height can kind of compensate for it too, because you'll get really nice chase down animations and stuff like that too, because you're just super tall, super lanky, get really good strides on those chase down blocks, and it works perfectly fine. So if you play 2s, height is welcomed. Gold brick wall, perfectly fine. If you play 3s though, I would say all you really need is bronze if you have a decent point guard. Like, I'm talking even just decent. Now, the one last thing that I want to mention with this video is the lineup. So me as the 6'6" build, I like to play with another person that's taller than me. So that puts me at the 2. I want you guys to keep in mind that it wasn't the case for this game. They were just switching this guy right here onto Kitchen every time, aka their lockdown. They were switching the big man onto me every time. So for other teams, however, what they might do is they might run guard sides. This is what I'll call this, right? So this is what we go against every single time on 3v3 in the park, because people aren't really smart enough to kind of get this whole situation. And really, I'm not gonna lie, it is smart defense in the first place, because they are kind of preventing us from getting any 3-point looks. But anyway, guard sides is pretty much where the 1 and the 2 are guarding me and Kitchen in the pick and roll. They're likely gonna just double team Kitchen most times or play sides 100% of the time, because truth be told, when you put guards in pick and roll, 2 of them, they don't really play much hedge defense. And locks don't know how to play hedge. On ball, like point guards, don't really play the best on ball defense or anything like that. They require a lot more help. So these guys simply put, they just play sides. And then me personally, I love this lineup too, because what it ends up being most times is where they'll double team Kitchen in that situation, and then I slip, and then the corner, this big man gets super, super aggressive to try and drop off of Nut, the big man spot right here, and I'm able to just dot my bigs for 3s, because the bigs hate sitting in that corner all the time, but they also hate being in the pick and roll defense. So long story short, big bigs on 3v3, I don't know. It's looking kind of tough out here if the point guards can move really well, and if you do anything other than what we did with Nut toward the end of this game right here, where he kind of just sits corner on defense and tries to kind of stay out the way, you know what I'm saying? And this is the perfect situation for him in the corner right here at 7 feet tall, because he's able to just kind of guard a dude who's stationary the whole time. He's a little traffic cone in the corner right here. Now, don't be wrong, a lot of people do that. If you ever see me play with the team, they're also going to do that for the most part. I do have a thought to run 2 ball handlers, aka like run 2 5'9s like Kitchen's build, and then run my boy AK at the 2 and have 2 5'9s so that we can just attack the weakest defender, and guys like this who put all their attribute points into defense and then just sit in the corner all day, and then they have the point guard who has all of his attribute points into offense. What we could do is pretty much run at this guy the whole game, and then boom, just like that, these dudes are super irritated because we got Mr. No Defense guarding ball, and then Mr. All Defense spotting up somewhere on some corner spot up because we have 2 ball handlers. Anyway, my whole point here is this is a very comfortable spot for him to be at on defense. He also can very conveniently crash rebounds every single time and just drop off this corner when a shot goes up, and then boom, just like that, we got a tall dude who's crashing rebounds really well. What I don't understand, however, though, is if these guys have 3 people who can shoot, why wouldn't this guy also just spot up in the corner sometimes and then force this guy into the pick and roll offense or pick and pop offense if all they're even doing is going for a mismatch? Because like I said, what they could do is just bring this guy out of the corner, come up here, set the screen, and then boom, just like that, Kitchen and Nut have to play size defense, and then we got this guy being guarded by Nut, the 7-footer, who really is not going to keep up too well in the ISO defense. So I don't really want to put more people onto this little style right here because it might be super annoying for me to play against. But again, this is just common thinking from me personally, where if you have multiple people who can shoot the ball and you could just spot this guy up in the corner, you could be selective with your screen setting options and kind of do what LeBron does in NBA basketball, where they don't call for screens from big bodies in the NBA. They call for screens on the guy who has the worst matchup possible that LeBron wants to switch on to him, because that's how they play in the NBA too. They don't like to fight through screens all day. They're not trying to bash their body against each other like 300 times a week or anything like that. They're just switching everything, and whatever the bad matchup is, they have to deal with. So at the end of the day, I don't know why more people don't do that. Anyway, Like I said in the intro, let's try to get 1 to 1,000 likes. And if you made it to the end of the video, put screens in the comments to sort of support me all the way through. And again, I hope this was detailed enough for everybody. I know I was kind of all over the place with the video topics and stuff like that, but there's a lot I had on my mind that I wanted to explain to you guys. And realistically, it's hard to get to all of that in this like one gameplay video right here, and I just didn't want to make this like a 30-minute video explaining like Bronze Brick Wall and the levels of it and stuff like that. But hope I touched on everybody's playstyle from 2v2 to 3v3 to pro-am to park to stage, all types of stuff like that. Not talking about cages, but anyway, hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. And like I said, put screens in the comments to sort of support me all the way through. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed. Take it easy, man. Peace.